it important to know how to write a good report? We'll look at business reports as well as the business report structure. All right. Q&As will come through at the end. I'll be very excited to see your questions come through, and I will attend to all of them as best as I can. For that particular Q&A session, you would need to use the Q&A box that's at the bottom of this page. So I'm going to quickly look at the chat before I complete or continue to move on. Nobody's added anything to their bucket list. What would you like to do before you die, basically? What is it that you'd love to do and accomplish before you leave planet Earth? And that's what it means to add something to your bucket list, all right? So it'll be quite nice to see what it is that you would love to do. And so it could be bungee jumping. It could be something like perhaps skydiving. Moving to another country. Yes, we have a first response. Lovely. Moving to another country. Go for it. The sky's your limit. Travel around the world. Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to join you on that one. Travel around the world. That was NPV. I would like to learn abroad. That's B. Adopt a child. Wow, that is an amazing thing to do. Congratulations to have that mindset. Brilliant. Give an opportunity to a child that didn't have that opportunity, and as well as parents who want that, and they can have the blessing of raising an adopted child. Well done to you. That would be awesome. Go to a wild island. Oh, okay, that sounds a bit dangerous, but exciting, perhaps. Yeah. Travel around the world. We have more people doing that, and we have travel around the world again, as well as to fly. Okay, great. Travel to space. That is soon going to be possible with Elon Musk and all of the innovation that's coming out of his team. And wow, it is getting closer to there. You would like to live in the Highland when you retire. Great, Kang. That sounds awesome. Highland sounds awesome. So we're going to move on from here. Thank you for the responses. And that was part of the icebreaker that we have for today. So as I would see in our next slide, before we start, don't be shy, participate, ask questions. It'll be great if you can ask questions as we go along. Please do not feel shy. More people as they join, we'll try and see what we can do as part of a recap if you've missed anything as they do enter the class. So let's go on and find out why. Why is it important to know how to write a good report? Yes. So for the very first part, it is one of the best ways to get noticed. Yes. Showcase your talent to your peers, to your management. They will be able to see, wow, this is a great report that comes through from an individual like yourself, and you get noticed. So here we are today, going to find out how can we do this as best as we can. So we do on how you can do this today, and stay tuned, be focused, and I hope you enjoy it. So another reason for the creation of a good report is to easily track the progress of work that has been executed so far, right? And from being able to create this report, and with all of the analysis and all of the details and the research, we can then make an educated recommendation or suggestion from that good report, okay? So being able to create a good report is very important, and let's go into further detail. So the different types of reports, firstly, there's research reports and there's business reports, amongst others. Okay, so research reports fall under your scientific and technical, and we're not going to go into that too much. We're going to go into business reports, and we're going to look at the problem analysis, and business reports will be problem analysis and financial or sales reports, right? So we'll focus on the business reports in this particular lesson. And we're off to the next slide. So business reports, I'm not going to try and rush this too much. I'm going to slow it down as well. Please ask questions as you go along. I will keep an eye on the chat box and try to answer you as you go along. So if anybody didn't hear it, wants me to repeat, please feel free to do that. In business reports, in order to examine a problem, this is one of the reasons why we would go ahead and do a business report to identify a problem area. Okay. It also offers a way of solving it and recommending a course of action, right? Or the alternative, it could be just a shorter report that we write, and this is just for informational purposes, and that can be much more easily done without major research and so on. So this is something that can be briefly shown to the company. So you can go into major detail, research, finding out more information on various aspects of the business. That can be done in your presentation or report when you're putting together. So let's go into structure. So I put together the reasoning behind the business report structure and taking you through each one quite nicely. In the beginning, it is obvious you'll need a title page, name your report, date it, and also the person who is commissioning the report. So it'll be the person, obviously, perhaps it'll be you, because teaching you how to do this. So you would have your name on the report, and very, very importantly, what is the objective of this report, right? The next step is to have then a executive summary or management summary. Okay, this is so that everybody can have a look at maybe just a one-pager that can tell us everything that's in this large report. So maybe it is a long report, but a executive summary can summarize everything into one page. So if you were to give it to just management to look at, or somebody just wanted to catch up on what's the conclusions, what's the recommendations, they'll be able to look at this one pager and know exactly what is all about. And if to go into further detail to find out how did you manage to get this research information and details, then they can further go into the report a bit more further. So that brings us to the next step, which will be your table of contents, right? For obviously longer reports, these are very important to have so people can know exactly which section they can go to and also make reference to your pages in order, okay? So I'm just quickly going to have a look at the chat box just to make sure that nobody is, that I'm not missing anybody and a question. Okay, great. So we have, after the table of contents, it will be introduction. So the back of the information, say that very nicely. It will be very nice for you to add that bit into the report. Okay, it'll move on to the main body thereafter. So this is the structure, the main body and discussion. So the longest part of your report would be here, giving you all of the different headings and subheadings and all of the situations and problems. So it will outline your research, your interviews, putting all of that information to a nicely worded document. And so we just now, right, structure. So once the main body and this discussion is done, we're going to move to summary and conclusions. Summary and conclusions is the summary of the report and the potential solution to the problem, right? So you're going to recap. So it can also go before the main body, as it stated here, but I think it'll be quite nice to come after all of your research and all of your information that you put in, your conclusion and summary and suggested solutions. Right. Thereafter, here again, it can be before the body of the main body of the email, of the report, but here I would prefer it being just after the summary. So you can identify the course of actions, okay? And number your recommendations so that you can have more than one solution, perhaps, to the problem, and thus giving more insight on how we can manage this particular situation that we're faced with. What a pleasure. Your managers, your peers will be grateful to you for being able to do the research and then also give multiple recommendations on how to solve the problem. Okay, great. Everybody, I am going to recap this. This is just the structure, so don't get worried if I'm moving too fast, tell me. I will slow it down a little. Okay. Questionnaires that you use to prepare the report and bibliographies. Okay. References at the end is to put references to all of the different people that you've I think it's sometimes quite important to list the people that you've engaged with. Maybe you've had interviews with them to get the information. It'll be quite nice to add that in, okay, or make reference to where you've got the information from. So identifying the source. Good. All right, we're going to move on very quickly here. So here I have just a business report structure for shorter reports. So if you had a shorter report that you wanted to do, here you just have the title, introduction, main body, or discussion, and then recommendations at the end. So a much shorter report that can be used for financial reports or sales reports. Here you can have just a very information type. So it's not something that is too elaborate, and it doesn't need too much of information. So you can keep it short and simple. If that's what's required, then all you need: title, introduction, main body, and recommendations, right? Okay, everybody's with me so far. Can I get some feedback on the chat? Everybody's with me so far? Great. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Good. So I'll answer more questions as we go along. Recommendations at the end. Yes, we're going to move on to the next part. So what I have for you next is the 10 report writing tips. That's quite nice for us today, and that's what we're going to spend most of the time in before the end of the presentation. So 10 important report writing tips. We're going to start with the very first one. Write your executive summary. Okay, write your executive summary and table of contents at the end. Why at the end? So that you know exactly what's in the main body. So if you spend some time doing this report, and you'll have things that you'll be adding in and taking out, and by the time that you're at the end of the report, you would have to come back and change the contents page, right? So that, or the executive summary, to give everybody that one pager. Okay, so it is best for you to do it at the end, so you know exactly what's in the entire executive summary. Once you've already written the entire report, it'll be much more concise, and you'll be able to add headings, you'll be able to add page numbers, and it'll be very, very nice, neat, and concise. Next up, number 2, focus on the objective. We would not want to go astray. There's an objective that we have that we need to maintain. Make sure you stay focused on why you are writing. What is the purpose of this report, okay? So if it's something that needs to be done for a work-related problem, and it was in a particular area, make sure that you're talking to that particular point and you're not deviating from it, okay? It has to be relevant, and it is important that the reader of that knows that you have provided concise information about what you have titled this report to be, okay? So if it is about identifying new markets, then make sure that you're focusing on identifying new markets. If it's to evaluate your current HR policies and present new recruitment methods, then focus on that objective. Don't lose sight of that. Focus point, build around that. If it's about R&D strategies and suggesting a new product or new development ideas, great. Focus on that. Don't deviate from it. Don't deviate means don't move away from it. okay, and talk about all the other things, and you might go and digress off that particular topic that you had to make sure you were delivering, okay? So, great. We're going to move on to the next slide, which is slide number 3. Plan before you start, of course. So, planning before you start is obviously crucial. Think smart before you start is what I put down here. And so we need to gather all of the relevant information. We'll do the research. We need to also interview people. Maybe we might have to do some background reading or carry out some social experiments or experiment. Yeah, any type of experiment that you'd like to. And so from that, you'd be able to then decide on the structure of your report. Okay, so you'll be able to have all of that information before you, and thereafter you can divide it into subsections, headings, subheadings, and so on. So planning is one of the crucial elements. And if you are unsure about how to plan, start putting your thoughts onto a piece of paper. Put it down on a piece of paper, and maybe you could even try mind mapping. So you put the main word in the middle of the box, and then write down ideas around it, and thereafter you can draw lines to mean in the middle box. What is these idea of the research that you're bringing into the report is in line with the objective, right? Not deviating from it. Okay, so make sure also to keep note of all these references that you've brought into, so wherever you've got your research document, your information from, make note of the references so that you could add it into your report and link it so that everybody could understand the methodology, could understand where you've got this information and why you've come to this conclusion, to double check and see the information. All right, great. Hopefully everyone is clear on that so far. We're going to move on to slide number 4. Okay. Before we go on any further, can somebody answer for me? What is something that we must make sure we focus on? What is something that we must ensure we focus on? Yes, great. We have people that are paying attention. Wonderful. The objective. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Wonderful. Great. Let's go on to the clear outlay of this report. Clear layout. We see I put down the same details that I had on the previous slide, just in point form, very nicely for you, so that you can have a nice clear layout. A nice clear layout will make it more appealing for them to be able to look at the document they would need to go to find the information that they were looking for. Now, I also have something that I'm going to share with you in the chat box regarding the layout. So let me just quickly go into the chat box. And this is for everyone. And I hope I still have it in paste. There we go. So you could have something like this in your layout. We have section 1. If you look at the chat box, and then you have subsection A and B, and thereafter you have subsection A, and thereafter you can follow this sort of process, whether you have A1 or A2, and then you have 1B, 1 and 1B2, and so on. So you get the idea, and you'll be able to have a nice layout in your report to be able to follow, okay? So this is very important. Make sure that there are adequate spacing. Make sure that your margins and your text looks less dense, okay? So important. So you'll have your main topics in bold writing. You'll have the rest of it in a normal and obviously not bold. So using all the text in the exact same font, making sure that the texts are not too large, not too small. Have a pattern that you keep and consistent between the report, throughout the report, that they can see that, right? So paragraphs, have it well structured. Paragraphs should not be more than 5 sentences. Okay, so that's something like a guideline. It shouldn't be more than 5 sentences. Have your line in between paragraphs, and have the main idea of the paragraphs being seen. So thereafter we have final sentences on the report should conclude the ideas that are presented. So this will help you sum up your report quite nicely, making sure that you have your final sentences of report concluding the ideas that have been presented in your writing. Okay, good. So I'm going to move on to edit and proofread. Edit and proofread. Very, very important. Yeah? So we want to make sure when we submit for our managers, when we want to submit this report to our co-workers, that we are not then marked down or looked down upon because of grammatical errors and making the spelling errors, very importantly. Go through it, make sure that you've got your spell check on, have a look at it and make sure that if it's highlighting a spell check error, go into it, fix it, and make sure that you don't have any grammatical errors, no spelling errors, that each section follows logically from each other, okay, and that each point supported the evidence of data that you have, okay? And are the conclusions and recommendations persuasive? You need to ask yourself those questions. When you're doing the conclusions and recommendations, does it persuade the reader to then go with your suggestion? Is it a compelling reason for them to go ahead with your suggestion? So, at the very last, make sure that your sources are correctly referenced, okay? So your editing and proofreading needs to be done multiple times. So if you can do that multiple times until you are satisfied that there are no errors, no spelling errors, no grammatical errors, they are logically in order, that you have supporting evidence, okay, to back up the points that you've made. And you could make reference to your evidence. If it's not something that you want to put into the report, you can make reference to where you can go in and find it, all right? And make sure that your conclusions are persuasive, that the solution that you offer, people enjoy it, they're happy about it, and they would definitely take the recommendation or have multiple recommendations. So not just one, but multiple recommendations that you could find a solution to the all right, have to the report or brief, okay? So once you edit and proofread again, find out if you have kept to the objective. So go back to see, have I kept to the objective of this report? If it's to launch a new product, if it's to come up with new ways of how we would employ if you work in HR. So have you kept to that objective? Very important. So with your proofreading and editing, this is how you would be able to then get that report very good, excellent, and doing what is required, and everybody happy at the end of the day that is reading, especially your manager that's requested this information from you. It's going to be very pleased because you've done the work that's required. Okay, next up we have number 6. Number 6 is basically keeping it simple. Yeah, keeping it simple is definitely going to help you. You don't have to have long, elaborate sentences. You don't have to use a lot of big words. Keep it short, keep it simple, okay? So the idea here is just to focus on the main content for each sentence and extra information on the following sentences, right? Keep to the main idea, okay? And thereafter you can use linking words like we'll see just now, and avoid writing long sentences with lots of slugger clauses, which is what for the reader to follow you, okay? You should aim for sentences that are no longer than 15 to 20. Aim for sentences that are no longer than 15 to 20 words, all right? So keep it short, keep it simple. Let them be able to follow what you're saying and make sure that your spelling is correct as well, not to forget that. Number 7, we're going to move on to is using linking words, all right? I should have gone here before going into linking words. Can somebody please tell me what are linking words? Can somebody please maybe give us an example of linking words in the chat box? Due to, as since, however, because. Very nice, very nice. Therefore, besides, yes. However, well done, well done. Excellent, excellent. All right, everybody is well aware of linking words. So you guys have definitely done reports before. Yes, linking words is absolutely crucial. Using the phrases like therefore, however, for this reason, etc., will help your reader then follow your ideas. Okay? So there are many linking words that you can make use of, and this is absolutely wonderful to make use of, and it also helps the reader find this particular style very interesting. It makes the reader perceive the writer of this report in a good light, because they'll be able to link the ideas that are, this is for this reason, or therefore, because of this problem, we therefore need to have this action, right? And so you are then planting thoughts into their minds, being able to now tell them what they need to hear, how they need to now solve that problem. So if this is the problem, therefore we need to consider these actions to resolve that problem. Okay, you'll be able to let them easily now link the ideas, link your thought pattern, be able to understand what you are trying to say to them. So you need to be persuasive as you now present your report. Your report needs to lead towards being persuasive of the suggestions and recommendations that you have based on all of your hard work, all of your findings, all of your research, all of your interviews. All of that hard work needs to go into a nicely compiled report to reflect and for you to be able to show off that you are one of the greatest employees in that company. And this is the great way, like I said in the beginning, a great way for you to get noticed, a great way for them to see you in the limelight, that this gentleman or this lady has to get a promotion very soon because of this quality work that she's bringing to the table. Be very analytical about your data that you get through. Be analytical, research it, do it properly, do it diligently. Go into deep analysis of what can be done. Look at the information that you're bringing to the table and make sure that it's to the best of your ability. Okay, we're going to go to slide point number 8. Point number 8 is use everyday English. So I thought this meme would be quite nice, and so we have an actor here that you might know and look familiar. Sometimes he says, sometimes I use big words and I don't always fully understand, in an effort to make more photosynthesis. Yes, sometimes we use words that we don't understand. Others don't understand it either. So let's keep it simple. Let's keep it non-technical sometimes, okay? If it is a technical report, by all means simple. Don't let anybody wonder what, or make them look as though they are that they're unable to comprehend what this report is about. So, okay, you don't want to lose them. You want them to be able to focus on what is this content all about, and you want them to be happy and be a there's an experience real report. So you're not going to use all of the big words that you need Google to help you with what does this mean, and keep it simple. This will definitely help. If you need to use some of these technical words or jargon, explain it and use it in terms of a glossary. So you'll be able to then include it at the end, and the glossary will have a list of words that and the meaning. That'll be quite nice if it is a technical report and you'll have to use some words that are not commonly used every day. All right, great. We're coming closer to the end, ladies and gentlemen, and I thank you for your patience, and I hope that this is something that you are enjoying and will be benefited by, and it'll certainly have a nice structure for you to get used to when you are writing these reports. Point number 9, the ninth tip to writing a good report is avoid passive forms where possible. Yeah, with technical reports, scientific reports, you would often include passive, right? I and you. So, but in the business sense, you need to be more simple, more direct. Okay, so try to use the examples that I've given you here. It's most likely the better way in which you could bring your objective to the table. People will be able to hear the objective much easily when you are using the active form. So we have this report outlines, or this report analyzes, or describes, discusses, examines. So if you have this, it will be able to then simply help the individual understand better. It'll not sound as though your business report sounds more objective, right? So because this report outlines, analyzes, describes, this report reviews, summarizes, if you do it, it is then active. In the active form and passive, we want to move away from it. Avoid it wherever possible, okay? Avoid it wherever possible. Try and use these words that I've given you: analysis, describes, discuss, examines, explains, identifies, illustrates, outlines, reviews, and summarizes. These are nice words that you can use that will make you use it in the correct form. Okay, great. This report describes the procedures commonly used in assessing insurance claims. Another example. This report examines the impact of natural disasters on our production facilities. Nice examples, yeah? If you were to use explains, it'll be this report this section explains the decisions to suspend investment in using identify. This report identifies the advantages and disadvantages of relocating our head office. People will now be able to understand the objective of the report. They understand where you're going with this report. So it's very nice to use the active format. And I'll leave you with one more. Straight. The main difficulties very soon to see how you've been able to remember what has gone through in this presentation. And here, the last point, very importantly, keep an eye on punctuation. Okay, so keeping an eye on, well, this particular, it would say, I like cooking my family and my pets. And that is scary. We don't want to do that. And we don't want to sound like we're a psycho. So have your commas in place. I like cooking, my family, right? That sounds much better. You understand where we're coming with this. If you do not have your commas in place in the right place where it matters, it could get lost in translation, or your point could get lost thereafter. So we gotta be careful of our commas. I see there's quite a bit of Okay. So there was quite more exact about that joke, and it is something that we make mistakes sometimes. So just be carefully. It'll help you read the report for you, just as a second opinion, because sometimes there are ways that we could forget. Either go with what errors that would certainly help you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me for this presentation thus far and keeping the attention going. I really appreciate it. So we're coming very close to the end of the presentation for today, the end of this masterclass. My advice in the end of this particular course, right? The advanced Excel spreadsheet certainly help you a lot when you're trying to compile these reports and being able to show them what is it that you're trying to showcase. What is the objective that you're trying to showcase? If you have great skills in Excel, you'll be able to extract the data that you're using, put it into a pivot table. So from the big data that you have, you can transpose it into a pivot table. So you'll only select what you need from the report, from that data. Select what you need from the report to showcase what it is that you want to tell the business, how well you doing, how well there's losses, where we do the areas. So if you're able to then use pivot tables on an Excel spreadsheet, for those that do know it already, great. From that pivot table, you can then make reference to formulas at the end of that pivot table, which will then calculate service level, and businesses would love to know about more service level orientated aspects in the business. Once you can project the service levels of your products, or whether it is service levels of quality in your business, whatever it may be, Excel can do a bunch of things, and you'd be able to then plot graphs. You'll be able to plot nice little charts that can speak to the reader, that could identify very easily, give you a nice overview that people will be able to follow. And what a pleasure. An advanced Excel course, I would recommend you go for that. It will be absolutely brilliant. You will not regret it. There's so many lovely functions there that in Excel, and formulas that you can make use of that can do wonders for you, that can give you the outcome that you're looking for, to pinpoint where is the business going wrong. And you'll be able to then incorporate your Excel spreadsheet and workings on your report, and that will make you even better. Report handling, but to be able to then ask your questions in the Q&A section, and have a few chat box. What is the purpose of a business report, guys? Let us hear from some of you. From the beginning of this presentation, I did state what is the purpose of business report. Can anyone remember? You can use the chat box, not the Q&A section, to show results. Great. To show your talent. Yes. Exactly. Get yourself noticed. To come up with conclusions, to show performance, solve problems. Yes. Excellent. Great. Well done. Examine problems. Everybody's on point. Well done. Number 2, what should you do at the end of a report? What should you do at the end of the report? Or what should be done at the end of making Yes, you then work on the summary, the executive summary, the table of contents. You do that at the end. You do your workings first, and you do your executive summary at the end. Well done. As well as you can pinpoint your recommendation. Great. What is important to focus on throughout the report? I think we've asked this question before. Let's see if everybody can still remember. What is the important point to focus on throughout the report? Objective, well done. Yes, the objective, great. Wow, I'm really, really happy to see that come through. The main objective throughout your report, great. You guys are brilliant. Number 4, what should you do before you start writing? What should you do? Start writing. Plan, mapping, great. Think before you start. Research, think smart, yes. Draw a mind map and plan. So you know that you are going to deliver a great report. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for that. The last one, I'm not going to ask you because you've already answered it before. It was what is linking words. You've done that. It says, I can. Okay. Do we input and export? Do we should to input? I couldn't to the executive. Do we put in? Okay, so I understand now. All right, fine. Do we put in the recommendations into the one pager of the executive summary? Yes, indeed. Indeed, we would have to do that to put that in because thereafter people can see exactly what was the purpose of your report. You can have that to be able to summarize your findings. You have been able to do all of this homework. You've done all of the research. And if somebody's only going to be able to vote for the directors that don't have much time, but they want to see what you've done in this report, the one pager with your recommendations or your expected outcome, what a pleasure to be able to do that. Okay. So we have what is bibliography. In bibliography is as disciplines a traditional academic study of books as physical or cultural object, easier to understand terms. It usually includes all the sources consulted, even if they are not directly cited. Okay, so it's more or less all of the research material when you're writing an assignment to make sure that you are putting in the articles, the books, the website that you made reference to, and list all of the sources of your content that you have been able to put to the. Don't forget to. I'm going to end the meeting just now, and I would like for you to stay online for just a few more minutes. Once I end the meeting, you'll be able to then fill out the evaluation form. We go, and before I do you enjoy this presentation and whether it has helped you to have a better idea and understanding of how to then create a good report. I would like to say excellent report, because you must shine. This is the best way that you could get being put in your best effort, put in your best foot forward. Another solutions until we have final agreement. Should we discuss with audience? Rejected the solutions until we have a final agreement. Well, let's think about this for a second. I think that the more it's, the better it is. So if you do put down the objected audiences who objected the solutions. Okay, so objected the solutions means that they did not want the solutions. They did not agree with the recommendations. They did not. They're not happy with the solution that you have provided. So we can put it out to the team. Hi guys, there have been individuals that didn't like this idea very much, and I'm open to more suggestions. So be somebody that's open to more suggestions that can be implemented to solve that problem. So you become a team player, and then the office or your colleagues can then take a vote. You can vote as to who would like to go with option A, who would like to go to option B, and you could go with a majority vote. So the majority who would vote towards a particular solution, maybe that's how you could handle the debate. That's how you can handle the objections. It'll be very nice for you to perhaps you're a team player and it's not something that you're enforcing and want to come through as a dictator in terms of that, all right? Or you dictate what they should do, but you're rather having a group a consensus. How can I present the negative data? The negative data, it is simply bringing it to everyone's attention. If by negative data you mean that the analysis doesn't show that we have done very well, the analysis shows that we are lacking, that is a very important to bring to the table. You can see that we have a problem because we are not selling enough products in this area. There could be a problem with the way in which we have the quality of the product could be analyzed because of the negative data. It not being a wanted product in the market, if we're talking about marketing products, various aspects. If it was negative data that we're not doing well in other fields, I'm just trying to quickly think of other fields. In the engineering field, if there was a solution that was viable for the company to go after because it would just cost the company too much to repair that particular device, and it will be more appropriate for us to then invest in buying new equipment, and in the long run we'll have a sustainable future. So if you highlight the negative data about a particular thing, it could then lead to then your recommendation and solution will follow thereafter. So you're not just giving the negative, you are also giving the positive by providing a suggested solution. You would be able to analyze that and give them that feedback. All right, any other questions? Let's see, there's one more. I'm going to end the meeting shortly so that you could fill out that evaluation form. Please do that for me. That would be great. We have perhaps one last question that we could do. So when we should use the numbering or just bullet in reports? Okay, good questions. Good question. All right, so I do understand that if you are doing your reports for when it comes to let's say your studies. If it comes to if you're still studying and you needed to push a report through for a university, then you might want to follow the format sent you, which then outlines it quite nicely, because they would like it to show some structure. You have sections, subheadings, and subheadings, right? So especially if you're doing assignments for technical reports, assignments for college, for your academic career, and you're submitting it, then try and do that. If it's bullet points, it would be more of an informal report. It's not really data. If you don't have a lot of data to present, you get a lot of information in a report, then by all means, you can use bullet points instead. just numbering and bullet points would be fine. Data, and you need people to follow you very nicely, very consistently. Therefore, you should go through the format that I sent you on this chat box today. It's more that will tie in with your table of contents. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with me today. I'm seeing some of the comments. I really appreciate it. It is great to see is helpful to that. This is awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to end this particular meeting, the webinar, so that you can go into now fill in the evaluation report. I don't see any other questions, so I take it I'm going to sign off now by saying Sin Chow, take care, be safe, Sawadee Krub, enjoy your weekend, and bye for now. Bye everyone. Have a great weekend. Take care and be safe, hey? Be safe. Thank you for all the thanks and good night. Enjoy the class. That's wonderful. I'm really glad. Thank you.